Well, why did the skeleton cross the road?
I don't know. Why did the skeleton cross the road?
To cross the beetle.
Oh, but that's pretty good. Let's just in just a little bit.
What are you doing?
I'm not sure what we're doing. Let's see. Today, what's today?
Sunday.
Sunday. Do you remember what today is? What special day was it?
Easter.
Easter. Today's Easter. Okay, good. Mom, can you tell us a little bit more about the history of them? What you remember where Dad and you were born and raised?
Oh, my dad, Joseph Allen Birdwell, was born in Belton, Youngsport, Texas.
Hi, beetle. Bye.
And he lived there on the Birdwell place. The
Birdwell place. I didn't know the Birdwells had a place.
It was there, close to Youngsport. It was the Birdwell place.
In Texas?
It had been handed down. It was mainly a Birdwell place because it had been handed down through the family. And he was born there. But when I went back, they had built a new house. I never did see the one he was born in.
Yeah.
And I was born in my great-grandfather's house that was real old, small, there in Youngsport, not close by. It was part of the estate. And
how big was the estate? Was it just like 40 acres?
No, I think it was quite a bit. I couldn't tell you how much, really. I know they had kind of fussed over it at the end. And but Dad wouldn't have anything to do with it.
He wouldn't have anything to do with it?
I left my family lived there when I was about 2 years old. We went to Hempstead, Texas, and stayed till I was 6 or 7. And Dad worked on the railroad there.
Yeah.
He did pretty good till they had a strike. And rather than to fight over the fight that comes through a strike, he got up and left. Went to farming then. He went to Wingate, Texas.
What did he do for the railroad? Was he
a mechanic?
Mechanic?
He worked in the shops.
So he knew how to take care of the farm for him?
Yeah. Yeah, he was, well, he grew up on kind of a farm.
Yeah. Did he have tractors and stuff, or just horses?
Horses.
Just the horses.
He first rented a place with horses, and that was furnished, and rented the farm. Then he made enough out of that. He bought his own horses, and we went out then, after we got through there, we went out to Texas, in the panhandle there, close to Levelland. And let's see, Wingate was no, I can't remember the little dinky place that was.
Was there an Electra?
Where I went? No.
No.
Electra was in Texas. That's where your daddy was born.
Yeah.
And he lived there most of his life, right in Electra, Texas. He got up to about 20, 21. And then he joined the CCs or whatever it was. And he stayed in there a couple of years or more. He was about 21 or 22. No, he's older than that. He was 26 when we got married, and he had just gotten out. So, and
we're all late bloomers.
And his parents, though, lived on there after he come out there, and that's where I met Russell. Was there in Albuquerque, New Mexico, when he was in camp there.
Well, how old were you when your dad had the farm? You said you were 2 when you.
Well, I said we lived in Hempstead from the age of 2 to 7, and from 7 to 10, we were in the farm, still in Winters, Texas.
Uh-huh.
And then we moved out to what's called the Panhandle level land.
Uh-huh.
I was 10 then, and we lived around in there till I was 21.
Yeah. Did you guys you probably had to have a well and everything, huh?
No, yeah, it had a windmill on it that
Really?
pumped the water, and it was deep enough that.
Did your dad make the windmill?
No, it was put up. They usually had those put up, contracted, kind of like you contract most anything.
Yeah.
And
Well, how did he pay for that kind of stuff? Just from the crops?
the Uncle Jewel, we lived on Uncle Jewel's place once for 2 or 3 years, and he put the windmill in there.
Yeah.
And we bought a little acreage and had to lose it
That was Tom.
because
think so.
we had that was in Enix, Texas,
Uh-huh.
and we lost it because we had 3 straight droughts
Yeah.
and nothing.
Nothing would grow? Well, you were dependent on what you could...
It all come up and was about ready to harvest, and we'd get a hail would come
Oh.
right through there and just beat everything into the ground.
Bet you that was
Some of it-
discouraging.
Especially the cotton, just before it started making cotton good.
Yeah.
And but we did get some of the stuff fodder for the horses.
Yeah.
That kind of saved us there. And the other way, we lived on, we had cows, and we sold the cream from those, and that's the way we could get groceries.
Yeah.
And we had a windmill there, but it was already up when we took the place over.
Yeah.
What about
So,
siblings and stuff? What order do your brothers and sisters come in?
well, I had a brother that was born 10 years before me. He was born January the 1st, 1906.
Mm-hmm.
What was his
And then
name?
Avie was born 2 years later, 1908.
Dad, I give
What was
you
your
my
brother's
red
name?
car.
My first brother was Alan.
I give you my red car.
I can't remember the middle name, but his first name was Alan.
Alan.
And
How old did he live to be?
7.
7.
He,
So he died before you were born, really?
yeah, he was dead 3 years before I was born. And see, Avie was born.
And then she was the oldest of the living.
Yeah, she was born 2 years later
Mm-hmm.
in 1908, and then Jar come along in 1910,
Uh-huh.
and then I came along in 1916,
Uh-huh.
and
then
Ray was 1921, I think.
Oh, really? 5 years younger than you.
Yeah, see, Jar was 6 years older, and Ray was about 4.5 or 5 years
Yeah.
younger. And but I was born 3 years later on the exact date that Alan was
Oh,
born.
really? The same birthday. Huh?
A girl, and quite a disappointment for the family.
I wanted
My
another
mother
boy.
especially, she wanted all boys.
Because
To
you
work
worked
the farm,
Is
yeah.
that why?
I know, she
just
just
wanted
wanted
boy.
all boys.
But they probably made you work anyway, huh?
I worked more than Ray did. Ray was a baby, and he could always find something wrong. And this is on tape.
They want to hear it.
I do agree.
He was. I'll just let off the things
Gotta clean up
because
a rack.
he would kind of
Find an excuse,
find an excuse, and he didn't do the milking because he let the cows go dry, and he didn't hoe because he left too many weeds behind, and Well, it was just kind of that way.
What kind of crops did they try to grow? Did you see was it the first 3 years that were unsuccessful? It was cotton was the only thing you tried to grow?
We had cotton, maize, and corn. What we call maize then.
Yeah.
And this was fodder for the corn, and the maize was fodder for the
horses then.
For the horses.
Horses and cows.
And we raised pigs too then,
Pigs.
chickens, and it all went feed them.
Kind of like your grandmother was doing when we met her in Albuquerque.
Yeah. Well, no, my dad, after he left Texas, he never did farm anymore.
No, I didn't farm, but she was raising pigs when we were there in New Mexico.
I don't remember nothing much about it.
I remember going out and looking at the pigs, and you'd say, "Don't get close to them because they'll eat you too."
No,
Yeah.
that was Ray's place. She didn't have no pigs.
Mother didn't have it. I don't think Mother.
Ray,
Huh?
Ray
had
was-
all those pigs and those
JR
chickens.
did.
Yeah. No, JR. Yeah, JR was the one.
No, Ray had
Yeah.
them right there next to that big chicken coop, chicken pen. Because I remember one of those chickens got over and got
Oh, he
Caught.
probably did. Yeah.
caught.
They lived kind of out in the country there in Farmington, so that they
Yeah.
could do things like that.
Yeah, I never saw much of Ray when we were there. I stayed at JR's, and we just. Was that you and Dad met in Albuquerque,
Albuquerque, New
New
Mexico.
Mexico? So both of you were raised in Texas, and you never met there.
No,
You didn't meet
we
till you
met
got to
in
New
Albuquerque,
Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yeah.
And we were married in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Santa Fe.
And I think you know about all the places we've lived. Albuquerque and L.A.
Yeah.
We spent some time in Salem, Oregon,
Uh-huh.
and we've lived in
You said you moved from.
Auburn, Washington.
When did you move to Paradise? Was that after Salem?
That was that was after L.A.
Mm-hmm.
We lived in Salem, and you were a baby then. I mean, in Paradise.
Paradise.
And yeah. And
About 3 different places there, and one of those was it's not including the tent, was it?
In Paradise?
when we first went to Paradise, we lived in the park in a tent.
How long did
With
we live
the-
in that tent?
Oh, 2 or 3 months.
Long enough to get tired of it, huh?
Long enough to get tired of it. Then we moved from that tent. This is the only time we ever lived like this. But we moved into a garage that had the floor. We'd put floor in it
Mm-hmm.
and paid $10 a month for rent.
Maybe I was about the exact age.
Yeah, and that's where Dad had that dog named Pal.
Pal. That's where we had the
Paradise.
pal. That could bark and howl at the same time, seemed like.
Sounded like a whole pack of dogs all at one time. I always
You
wondered
could
what
go
that
off
sounded
and
like.
leave him tied up, and he would chew the rope in two. And he wouldn't be there when we'd come back.
Yeah.
He'd
Wait.
follow us down the road, wouldn't he?
I'd try to keep him at home that way, tied up or something, because he'd go to the neighbors and eat their chickens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way he got killed, I think. I heard a shotgun one morning, real early, and he never did come home.
How did you say you and Dad met? Was it somebody that introduced you?
Well, Avie and Glenn, I don't know how exactly it was. One of his sisters gave a kind of a party in their house, and he'd come. They invited some of the boys from the
Yeah.
camp, and he was in that
So
bunch.
he was with the CCCs then,
When I first
in New Mexico.
When I first got acquainted with him, he was,
Mm-hmm.
and he was studying
Drafting?
drafting then through the CCs. That's where he learned to draft.
That's where he learned to do it.
And
Civil Conservation Corps, I think.
Conservation. Oh, and there was a civil court.
Yeah. When you met him at the party?
and then he kept coming
Following
around.
us,
There's a bunch of us get together and
Yeah.
then he got coming out and taking me to parks and
Yeah.
taking me for walks. He didn't have a car then.
No.
We'd just go for walks.
Well, like when I met Leona, we didn't have a car.
You're
They ran in the family.
about the only thing that ran as a family. I have a car.
Yeah. Huh.
I had one.
You rebel.
That's true. He was a rebel. Dave always was a rebel.
Well, the clunker, but he ran.
Yeah. Well, how long were you guys? How long did you know him then? Before you got
About
married?
6 months.
Yeah. So it was pretty
Not,
quick.
not
Of course-
long enough. I should have waited longer, I guess.
Well,
But
yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of glad that you didn't.
I am too, because I'm kind of proud of my family.
Kinda.
Kinda.
Kinda. I'm
Just
real
kinda.
proud.
Which one are you not proud of?
Well,
Come on now.
Well, the truth comes out. Don't force her now. It's on tape. We'll wait. Find that out later. So when you moved to L.A., how long did you stay there? Was Dad working at a job there as a draftsman in L.A.?
I don't know exactly how long it was, but you were 3 months old when we left.
So it couldn't have
there.
been real long. Oh, okay.
And then we went to, I don't know what we did then, but well, we went to Albuquerque, I think.
From L.A.?
I think so.
Can I ask a question?
And then
Sure.
Where was that logging camp?
It was
I
up
can
in
remember it
New
clearly,
Mexico.
but
It was,
I mean, in Oregon.
fit in at all.
it was up around Paradise.
He went,
He went up there first, and was going to.
That was before Paradise.
No, that was right close to Paradise. That logging camp was. Is
Well-
out towards Ready.
Well, did you go up there after you lived in Paradise or before you lived in Paradise?
Well, we were with Russell's, the three of us was with Russell's mother and dad in the park, and he took this job,
Uh-huh.
and then it didn't pan out.
So you came back to Paradise?
We came back to Paradise, and then got a job in Chico.
That's Tom again.
No, yeah.
Got a job in Chico and stayed there. I don't know how long.
Yeah.
But then after that job,
years.
I think we went back to Albuquerque from that.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Well, when did his folks come out? Did they come out to L.A. with you, or did they come up to
were
Paradise?
In LA. They were in L.A. and
Did you come out to visit them in L.A. or did you?
I get all this mixed up.
That's
but,
okay.
Let's see, they came out there, and then we went. That's when we went to Salem, Oregon,
Oh, really?
and then we come back to.
We went from Albuquerque to Salem.
You may have gone 2 times.
I don't
We come
remember
through
going.
there twice, and I think, and then we come from there. We bought a house. He got a job there, and he
In
bought
Salem?
a house. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and his.
Well, we've owned a
While
lot
we
of
went and
houses.
got the furniture, a woman took over the job cheaper, and he would do it.
Oh.
And so we ended up in
Going back to
Paradise, I
Albuquerque.
think. Then.
Yeah, from L.A. From
Well, I remember
Salem.
that.
Yeah, see, we didn't stay there long that time. We went to Russell's mother and
We
dad
went to Salem
in Salem.
Yeah.
I mean in
first time, and we ended
in
up
Paradise.
trailer park,
Yeah.
or a mobile
And
park type thing.
and then let's see, I forget how long we stayed there.
And he
You
didn't have
was
the job, and we
pretty
picked beans
3 or 4.
Uh-huh.
and we came
and,
back to Albuquerque,
Then
there for a while again.
I believe we went back to Albuquerque from there.
Well, that's what Dave is saying. Did you say?
Yeah, I put that on the tape.
What did you remember? You say you went from Albuquerque to Salem?
Went to Paradise to Albuquerque, didn't we?
Yeah, from Paradise to Albuquerque, and then from Albuquerque back to Salem.
And Albuquerque to Salem, and then
From Salem back to Paradise again?
back to Albuquerque, didn't we?
Well, we come up there.
I remember
We
living
made- then he
two
got-
times
he-
in 2 places in Albuquerque.
He decided to go back to Albuquerque and work some more there, and he worked a year, and then went back to Salem, and he got a job in Seattle from Salem because he wouldn't pick beans.
He wouldn't
And
pick beans, huh?
He got a job in a paper factory, and
Yeah.
someone
Seattle?
he had it in Salem.
Salem.
And it was an accident. He thought it was someone that didn't like him very well there. Let one of the rolls slip and missed him about 6 inches.
Hmm.
He just happened to step sideways at the time it started falling. And he figured it was meant for him, so it scared him. Russell could get scared pretty easy.
Yeah.
And he quit. He just resigned and quit. Then that's when he got the job in Washington, Seattle.
Remember how he got that one?
He just wrote up there and asked he knows how to contact these people.
Yeah.
And with the Army engineers.
Yeah.
And he worked there 10 years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it would have been about 10. We stayed there 10 years.
And I kept begging him to come. We got thinking that Arizona would be good for your asthma.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, I'm not going to let that all go like that because that's the way I put it to everyone then.
Yeah.
But also he promised to quit drinking. That was the main thing that brought me to been down to
Arizona. Mm-hmm.
And so he didn't like it here because it was too hot. He kept wanting to go back to Seattle.
Yeah. Well, what do you remember, Dave, about the first place that you remember living?
I remember Los Angeles
Do you remember Los Angeles?
and the apartment upstairs.
Well, you would have been about 5.
No.
Under,
Because
I
He
was-
wasn't even going
I
to
was
school
born in
then.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, I know. I figured that.
He was
Oh, he would have
born
been
in
about 5,
LA.
the bed that slid out of the wall that
Yeah,
slid in over the stairs going down.
yeah.
Huh.
And
Really?
Papa and I just vaguely remember Papa and Granny being there.
Yeah.
And then
Well, where was David born?
In LA. LA. He was born.
You had to come back out here to do that. Okay, go ahead, Dave. He was born where?
That wasn't me.
Where was Dave born?
He crawled out from under a rock.
Los Angeles, the White Hospital.
Well, that's where I was born. We were both born there?
It let you back again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were. See, he was born there, and then you were born there, and wait, maybe.
And then we had to get
David
out of town.
wasn't born there. Yeah. 3 months later, your daddy quit for some reason. I
What was
don't
he
know.
working at there?
He was working for the Army engineers there.
In
LA.
LA. Okay.
And he always ended up with the Army engineers because he seemed he had a background with them, you see, after he
Yeah.
worked there at first in the Army engineers there in
Good
LA.
job, easy. He
And-
didn't like it, but it's all he could get, really.
He would quit every once in a while to get out of it, but he couldn't find anything he could do that
Yeah.
would bring him in that much money.
Yeah.
And so he'd end up going back to it when we about ready to start that.
Yeah. Well, that's one way of putting it. But Roger was born at home, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
in,
because we
in
lo-
Albuquerque.
in Albuquerque. That's because the first one was.
Because I didn't want to go. And that was supposed to have just cost us $30. Can you imagine that?
$30 for the hospital bill? No.
And because, well, see, there wasn't a hospital bill. There was just the doctor's bill. But she kept making so many calls. I miscarried with the first one. And
Wasn't that at a?
that
Wasn't
was
a doctor
Perry
there?
Joe.
Yeah, wasn't there a
That
doctor
was
there?
in a hospital.
Yeah.
And, but this other one, I kept having just little pains, and she'd come out and give me shots, and I always felt like that was because Roger's system was so upset. She'd give me shots to quiet me down, and I got quite a few of those.
Oh, really?
And there was still enough of that in my system that he couldn't nurse.
Oh, really?
It would You'd nurse a little bit and just turn loose and scream like bloody murder.
Huh.
And it go right through him and beginning to show blood before I quit nursing him.
Huh. Some of that stuff they gave you.
Yeah, I always felt like that was what did it.
So that's what happened to Roger. Didn't drop him on the head after all.
And just too much tranquilizers.
That was David that fell on his head, yeah.
David that fell on his head.
Swan dive out of the high
I
chair.
still think I remember that too.
Yeah.
Remember.
I don't remember it.
2 years old.
I was just far away from the table, and Roger was sitting at that end of the table,
Yeah.
and you were over behind him doing
I was just a little ways behind you, towards the kitchen swing door.
behind something, and Dad walked in, and you walked around to him. And I
must have been in Los
trying to see what
Angeles.
was happening, and I got up and turned around. And I didn't even get turned around good.
Oh, boy, I couldn't believe that he was on the floor.
Well, did it clunk real loud? Was it a wood floor or concrete?
It's wood floor.
A wood floor. Well, then it had a little bit of
It
give.
was second floor.
Second story building.
It was a good thing it wasn't concrete. Could have really wrecked the floor.
And you also went downstairs in the walker.
I don't remember that so much.
Well, you wasn't but about 18 months old then.
Well, I also heard, didn't Roger try to burn the place down?
Yeah.
He and the neighborhood boy?
He was about 5 then. They found some papers stacked under the stairway in the back,
Yeah.
and they covered them with paint thinner.
Oh, good.
And wanted matches to burn them
Right there.
right there under the stairs. And he come up and was standing on the stove.
You'd have never made it down those stairs.
Well, we'd had gone out the front one if we
Oh,
could
it's the
have.
back stairs, huh?
I don't even remember the back stairs or the back side of the
That's because he
house
burned
at
them
all.
down.
No, he didn't burn them down. He come up and he was standing up on top of the stove. You can imagine
Oh, he was-
Zachary on top
yeah.
of the stove. And I says, what in the world are you up to? I want some matches. Stella wants them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that Stella Romano, his girlfriend, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The one that lived downstairs there. And that's where they got the paint thinner. They were painting inside
Is it
there.
directly below me?
No, on the other
Oh,
side.
some characters lived right below us. I remember them.
No, they were pretty nice people.
Well, he thinks they're characters.
Yeah.
The one right directly below us was a couple with a little boy.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who was in there before them. You might remember them, and I don't.
I vaguely remember watching her walk and wondering, is that the way we're supposed to walk? And I started walking like that.
Is that the reason you walk like that?
Not now.
Oh,
And I had to learn to walk differently. I got old enough to figure it out.
You
Yeah.
got the hinky too, did you?
Yeah.
it was still on her mother that gives so much trouble downstairs. They lived on the other side. And
Well, how many
probably
people-
her you'd think about it. She's the one I had trouble with.
No, I remember
I
sitting there
threatened.
looking through the screen and the guy saying, "Run that kid off!" And she says, "No, he's not hurting anything."
That was probably Stella's mother. She would entice you kids to hang around to take care of Stella while she had friends in.
Oh.
And one day she went off and stayed all day long and didn't get home till about 10 o'clock at night. And we had to keep Stella up there. And I told her if she ever did it again, I'd turn her in for it. And she couldn't think of anything mean to say about me. And she says, I don't see how anybody can like you because you're too skinny.
There you go. That's your biggest
And-
problem. There's not much.
And I laughed so hard that she got so mad that it wasn't good after that.
That made it even worse, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That big hefty lady in Auburn said something like that too, that lived next door to us too.
Which place was that? Well,
On 10th place. Lived
That must have been Stevie's.
Not Jeannie, Stevie's
Not
on the
Jeannie.
other side. She was.
Oh,
I don't remember her.
I got after her because
Daughter
she,
of the tumor.
I was watching a little girl and she said, oh, leave her alone, she won't touch her. And so I walked off and she reached in and Lavinia still has the scar on the side of her nose. Lavinia wasn't about 2 weeks old. She just reached in and tried to pick her up by the nose.
You're kidding.
And
All she could get a hold of, huh?
and she took her home before I could do anything. She thought I was going to do something to her, and I wouldn't have touched her. But I grabbed Lavinia and trying to quiet her because she was screaming bloody murder. She couldn't figure out what was going on. And I called the doctor and asked him what to do about it. And he said there wasn't anything. It's close to the eye. You couldn't even put medication on it, as little as she was.
You want to go over and tell them to stop hammering, Tom?
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Come walking back with a nail from
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I don't remember much before we moved to Washington.
You remember Lavinia having the whooping cough?
No.
She was 2 months old. She had the whooping cough. Everybody's coming in to see her because she's a tiny baby. The neighbors
They never
down
seen
too.
anybody with whooping cough before, huh?
I didn't even know she had it. Well, I had called out the doctor, and he called it just a cold.
Oh, yeah.
And so the neighbors two
They all
doors
came in.
down came down, and he took the whooping cough from her.
Oh,
And he
no.
worked on the telephone for the telephone company.
Oh,
And he
no.
was off for I don't know how long. Oh, did he get mad because we
Yeah.
didn't tell him?
Was that the people we gave the
I
rabbit to?
didn't- I don't know.
People we
But-
gave what to?
We had that rabbit. Roger had that rabbit, and two people down. You know, Jeannie and Stevie lived next door, but the next
No,
complex,
it was
two
on-
people down.
It was north. They lived north of us, and
Okay.
Jeannie and Stephen lived south of us. And
Oh, yeah?
Remember they had a
But-
son a year younger than I was.
All I can remember is I went over there to eat one time, and we sat down to eat, and I reached to grab some food, and they slapped my hand. I thought, what in the world? They slapped my hand. We're sitting down to eat. They wanted to say grace.
oh. No, I didn't ever dare. If I said that, if I said it before the meal, while the meal was cooking.
Yeah, well, yeah. Dad would never let you do that.
He didn't. He didn't like it. I didn't shove it because I tried not to shove it because I thought maybe that way I could get to him quicker. You know, if I made him mad, then he'd reject
It's
it
okay.
clear together.
Yeah.
And so,
That was Leona.
Well, I can remember when we lived on 10th Place, you left me home to watch Tom one time, and he was in the crib, and he started
With
crying.
a BB gun there,
Yeah,
too?
that's the time. No, he was crying, and I didn't know what to do, so I just started crying too. You came home, and we were both crying.
well, I must have just run out the neighbors or something.
Yeah, it wasn't very
It was
long.
something I had to do. And I
Just
remember
6
one
or
time
7.
I left
You did that with
when
my boy, too.
Yeah, I do. You used to do that with our kids. You'd do. Leona would leave me, and she'd come home and find us all crying.
well, I can remember one time after Granny come to stay with us there.
Yeah, that was on C
I
Street.
left Roger in charge. And
Oh, yeah.
I run to the store if I had something I had to have real quick. When I come back, you had black marks up and down the hall where you'd riding seeing how fast you could get before you got to the wall with that wheelchair. Then where where
We're
they
probably
to stop it. They
Oh,
just
no.
the
Oh, we probably
great
couldn't
street.
control it. Yeah.
streets of where they're stopping it, down in the living room.
Well, we must
too.
have left that place in a mess. Remember the sink that I put the BB holes in?
Yes, you knocked all them out.
'Cause I was too nearsighted.
A lot of enamel off.
I was trying to shoot, using that little cork pistol. trying to shoot BBs in it.
Enamel off of the sink.
Well, I couldn't see the. It was too nearsighted to see what I was doing to the sink, so I was shooting the little men up on the sink, and I wasn't shooting them. I was hitting the sink, and I didn't think anything about it till I went up to look at them, and there were all these holes. Where the enamel was knocked off. Oh, big trouble.
He's very seldom got into things like that, but every once in a while he did.
Oh, what are you talking
Well,
about?
Dad set the example. Remember that twice he set firecrackers off in the house? Once he left that big scar on the bookcase. Scared us.
Yeah, and then he was always telling you, don't do like I do.
Don't do like I do, yeah.
Do like I say.
So it's hereditary, I know it is. Our kids missed out on it. They're just good kids.
Maybe I didn't. I've been blaming Cheryl for it all the time.
Oh well.
He looks like you. I guess he got it from you.
Okay, but you always
Well,
rebelled it.
As far as I can understand, the Tennysons came from Tennessee, back in the hills.
Hmm.
That's the way Russell's mother told it.
Bunch of Okies.
I never did meet any of the Tennysons. I didn't know them at all. And but I do know Russell's dad had he had 6 sisters and 5 brothers. There was 12 of them. He made the 6th boy, and he left home when he was about 14 because
Yeah.
he said when his daddy got mad, he'd pick up a board and he'd give him spanking, and he never did know what he did.
After 6 kids, it didn't matter, huh?
Grab one and start spanking him.
Just grab one and start.
And so he went left home, and I don't know how old he was when he married the first time, but Russell's dad was married, and he said she divorced him, but she had 2 children, 2 girls by her, and then Cora and Myrtle. Then he married a girl named Ruth, and she took the flu or something, pneumonia, sick, and was caught out in the rain.
Oh, really?
And it killed her and the baby both. She was pregnant. And then several years after that, he married Russell's mother. And then he was 42. I don't remember how old when they married. And so he
was 42 when they got married?
42, and she was in her 30s. No, she must have been just exactly 30 because she told me once he was 12 years older than her. And
so she had Russell late in life then?
yeah. And but she also had, before they got married, she was working and taking care of those 2 girls. One was a cousin of Russell's, and one was just a girl that her mother didn't have anything to keep her going, and she said she'd take her. Says, if you'll take her, I don't want to see her again, but because I want her back.
Yeah.
And so she never did see her again, and she knew who it was, so she told her after she got grown and told her she could go and look them up, told them about where they were. And but she wouldn't go. She says, a mother that'll give me up, like
Inez? Yeah.
And Kitty was the cousin. She was a little younger than Inez, and Kitty was 5 years older than Russell.
Was Inez's parents relatives, or were they just people that she knew?
Just a friend she knew, that her husband got killed, and she had about 3 kids, and Inez was a tiny baby.
Yeah.
And she just didn't know how she could gonna make it with all those kids.
Yeah, not without a husband out there in
And
the wilderness.
Russell's mother was teaching at that time.
Oh, really? I didn't know
And,
she's a teacher.
Well, then you could teach when you out of high school. I mean, yeah, when you was
Yeah.
out of high school. I don't think she ever went to college or anything.
She taught grade school.
Uh-huh. She taught, yeah, she taught little ones.
She must have taught. Did she teach for quite a while?
No, just a year or two.
Yeah.
Up in El Dorado, Texas. And then when she got Inez, she went back home.
Uh-huh.
Because, she couldn't tend to her. And so she's more or less at home. And she told me when, her last name was Lockett then.
Yeah.
Her maiden name was Lockett. And she told me when Russell's dad asked for her, he asked if he could have, he wanted a jewel from the family. He wanted a locket.
Yeah. A little romantic devil, huh?
Yeah. He was quite a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't meet him very much.
No, but
I think
you
we
were
made it.
just 5 years old when he died.
Really?
Wait, well, maybe you weren't that old. You were just...
Seems like we went to Albuquerque one time. That might have been one of those trips from Salem to Albuquerque to
He
Paradise.
died in Paradise.
He
Did he?
died while we were still in Paradise.
And
You remember Granny. She was in L.A. We went from Albuquerque to L.A. and then to Salem.
Uh-huh.
And then on to
from Albuquerque to
this
LA
is all
and
mixed
to
up.
Paradise.
I don't know whether you can ever put
We
it all
never-
together.
We never get that right, but we got it close.
Albuquerque.
Seems like I met him, but it
and
might have been
Paradise and then
who I met was probably your dad.
It
Because I think I
probably was.
remember. Because I think in between the time that we went to Washington and the time we moved to Arizona, during that 10 years, didn't we go down there one time?
We went there several times.
Several times?
Yeah.
I only remember once.
Well, Russell took us there several times. I went.
We went down to see his mom when she went in the we went to Farmington with the Kerrs, but I remember when we moved to Arizona, Mrs. Kerr went with us at least part way.
She kept going
She went to
on
wh-
to Oklahoma.
Might
And
be.
we turned off and went down into New Mexico.
Could be, but I remember because she was
Then
with us in
Roger
Frankie.
met us there, and he drove all the way back. He wouldn't let me touch the wheel going back. I drove all that way, and I just learning how to drive again. And he was.
Which trip was that?
That was well, it was a year before Dad died, and he died in '60.
Uh-huh. But I
And
mean,
then
was that?
we left Auburn in '61.
Uh-huh.
About a little over a year difference later.
we leave in 61.
So when we left Seattle, in '61,
Yeah.
in July, we came on down and stayed with Mother and Dad and Jar
Yeah.
at that time
Yeah.
for quite a while there.
So we made two trips then, one in 60 and one in 61. But I don't remember the one in 60.
We made one in
Maybe
about
that's the one I do
59.
vaguely remember.
You must, in '59, you must remember some of that because that's when we come with the Kerrs, part of the way.
I
And then
remember
Roger-
that. You tried
Roger
to follow
drove-
that car of Mrs. Kerr's, and she'd go
She
down
could-
those mountains in that Studebaker,
And
and it was
But
long.
see,
I
the
had
Studebaker
kind of
is what we moved down from in 61
I had
with.
kind of a
Yeah.
van or something
You had
then.
a Ford station wagon. You'd try to follow her around those mountain
And-
curves. Follow
I
that
tried to keep
Studebaker
her
around
in-
that mountain curve, and you'd be two-wheeling her.
I just had to slow down.
I thought David was the one that drove, because didn't he get
Roger drove some, I think.
Roger drove back. David might drove some going down.
Because wasn't David was the one that got the suntan on just one arm because it hung out all the time? Maybe that was Roger. but it-
Roger did that. David was brown that time. You couldn't have told it if he hung it out.
Roger just joined the Navy, and he was on leave or something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, really?
He was
Yeah.
bragging about his suntan.
And
And
he'd
riding
been-
down the river spend the summers riding down the river on logs.
and
Yeah.
he was tanner than Roger was, and Roger was so disgusted.
Wouldn't say a word about his tan.
No more.
Blame him.
Yeah.
See, he turns darker than Roger does.
Yeah.
And so it just really, but we seen him twice then, and that was the last time when we went down there and Roger met us. That was the last time we saw Dad.
Yeah. I guess I don't remember much about those. And I don't know why I don't. Probably just like any kid, I don't want to remember the trips. Boring.
Yeah, and but when we come back in '61, you and I and Tom and Lavinia made it to Farmington by ourselves. David was up in Dakota, or South Dakota, North Dakota.
Yeah, that's we went up there for the summer.
And he come and met us there at Mother's. And so did Russell. And then we came on to Arizona.
And I had pocket change when I got to Farmington.
And that was it, huh? Is that all they paid you for that summer?
Yeah, I didn't do much. I helped them a little bit.
Of course, you didn't really go just to work anyway.
Yeah, he went to work. The girl told him he could have work if he went. And then he got there, there wasn't any work.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a
Hitchhiked
case of
himself
work,
over there.
it's just a case of she didn't want me to come.
I thought Russell was going to run me off when he found out I'd let you hitchhike.
Well, you mean you didn't get his permission at all?
Uh-uh.
What'd you do? Just say, "Here's your bags, Dave. Goodbye."
Dave kept asking me if he could go, and I knew he wouldn't.
That was one
He'd be
wild
upset.
trip, too.
Be upset if I didn't. And
Well, Dave would be upset?
yeah.
Nah, Dave never gets upset.
So I let him go.
Well, how old were you then?
I knew it was
17,
dangerous to
turned
let him
18
go,
there.
but
You weren't out of high school yet, were you?
I had gone
you graduated?
12 years, but I hadn't got my diploma. I needed a couple
half a
extra
credit.
credits. I needed 2 credits to finish up.
Oh, really? Did you get those in Arizona?
Yeah.
uh-huh. And Russell was so mad at me, he wouldn't talk to me for days.
Oh, really? I imagine.
You know all of what went on the way over there. It was a wild.
I didn't much think you'd go, but I gave you all the money I had.
I figured
And
I
that
could
was
find
another
my
thing
mother's
that made
skirt tail
Russell
long enough.
upset.
I had to get out of there.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was
what
my attitude.
what kind of
He was
things?
kind of desperate to do something, and that was
Yeah.
all I could. And she said there was a job there.
Yeah.
And I gave him all the money I could to live on, and
I
he
think-
kept wanting to hitchhike
I
over
think the
there.
thing
so I
was,
let
I
him.
wrote and told her about Roger's car I'd been driving all over, and she was expecting me to drive that out there.
Oh. Was that a Volkswagen that you had? We got pictures. Renault?
4CV.
Was there a
Mhm.
Volkswagen that we had there? I got pictures of you working on some car.
It's a Renault
Renault.
4CV. It was like a
C Street.
Volkswagen, only it had a water-cooled engine.
Yeah. Oh, but you didn't bring that with you, huh?
No, Roger had taken it over, and
He
had
come
a wreck
back.
in
When he got married, he needed it,
Yeah.
and he turned it upside down in the middle of Seattle.
Yeah, I remember that.
it. Run a stop
Scared us all.
stoplight.
Do you remember Mrs. Gamere coming down trying to tell us
No.
about it? They phoned her, and she got so excited you couldn't understand
Did you-
anything she said.
Do you
Russell
remember
kept-
Mrs. Demare?
Russell.
Yeah, I remember.
I vaguely
Yeah.
do.
And she had, I know she had, besides Sandy, she had another son that was younger.
Yeah.
And they ran that store.
Yeah. And
You couldn't understand her half the time, and you just said
When
kind of
she
had
got
to pretend you did.
when she got excited, you couldn't understand what she said. She had a cleft mouth,
Mm-hmm.
partially cleft, and she come down there so excited. It's the first time I ever heard Russell be really good and kind to her. He says, "Now calm down and tell us what happened." And she then stopped and got her breath, and it's enough that she could tell us what we could understand what happened.
Yeah, so you had to go into Seattle to help
No,
them?
we couldn't. We didn't go in because there wasn't anything we could do. We found out there wasn't, and so we let them alone.
Yeah.
And
I remember going into Canada and getting car back before they got married.
And another thing that
Going into Canada and getting what?
Bringing the car back. That's why I was working on it. He'd been to shifting fork up in Canada somewhere.
and as the only time there's ever in Canada, I think, as close as we were there, and as much as Russell used to like to run around, I was surprised that we didn't
Never
go up.
went into Canada.
Never did
Yeah.
go up there just to visit, like, you know.
Yeah, we took ferries, but we never took the one that went into Canada.
Uh-uh.
Just to Vashon Island, I think is what it, or something like that.
Oh, there was some right there close that we took. It wasn't out of Seattle.
Mhm.
There wasn't. We didn't go to Vancouver, even.
No.
And
Went to Vancouver Island on vacation. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. So I don't understand what kind of wild things happened on your trip to Montana. Is that where you went?
Well, there was a drought in South Dakota when I left, and it
South
rained every
Dakota.
night on the way over there. 4 days to get there, and when I got there, it was raining. And every night I had a roof over my head.
Oh, really?
First night was in a Salvation Army in Spokane. And in Washington, it was illegal to hitchhike. And I got stopped on the freeway. I was walking on the freeway,
oh boy,
just about 4 or 5 miles from the border. And the cop just took me and put me on another road and said, "Here, you're supposed to walk on this."
Oh, really?
Then I got, then some of the rides. There was 2 rides through Washington: a butcher and a Salvation Army lieutenant.
Yeah.
His daughter or niece or something. And he got me the room for the night.
Yeah.
I had to figure out which way the sun was and figure out from there when I come out of there.
Where you were going, huh?
going east, huh?
And I got a ride with these guys in an old Buick, and it had a standard 4-speed forced floor shift. I'd never
Mhm.
seen one before.
Oh, yeah.
In a Buick, anyway.
Yeah.
And the thing sounded like it was about to come through the floor. It kept popping and clunking, and they were going up a hill. We went across the border and went going up the hill, and I says, "Idaho's pretty narrow through here. How far is it before we get to the next border?" And he says, "Well, you're in Montana now. That was way back there somewhere."
You already been through Idaho, huh? It was
Been
that
there.
narrow, huh? Well, you blinked and you missed it.
Yeah. Oh. Then there was a older couple that had just been married, and they went by the theory that you were supposed to stop and take a break occasionally. So every town they stopped and went to the bar.
That's a break.
And they had a dog that was getting sick. His nose was dry by the time I left, and I was glad I left because they stopped at too many bars.
Yeah.
They had to go a different direction.
One too many breaks, huh?
One too many breaks.
Shoot. Oh, great. Well, at least you got a ride and God saw you through.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I knew he would because I just put him in God's care. And I just felt like this had to be, or I wouldn't have let him go.
Yeah. Well, I remember you guys Dad used to talk about, well, he'd send me over to Eastern Washington to work on a farm or something. And I kept hoping, no, I don't want to do that. Was he ever serious? Or he just talking?
If you ever knew a farm in Eastern Washington, I didn't know it.
He just talked about it. I think maybe he just wanted me to get lost too.
He was anxious for David to get out and get a job.
Yeah.
This was the reason I couldn't see why he got so mad. He wasn't much on kids hanging around after they got out of school.
He was better than Mr. Adams.
Yeah, he put.
He
He
just-
graduated, and he come and
Come home from his graduation, found his suitcase sitting there on the porch.
No directions or anything. Just
No direction.
probably
or
no
anything.
money either, huh?
No
no.
money, no direction, no nothing.
Well, what did
So
he do?
he had to
He
go.
got it. He went in the military.
Well, he went and stayed with his grandmother for a while,
Yeah.
Huh.
but
Well, that sure is a
Who
shocker.
was this?
It was his
No,
stepson. though.
one of the
The
people that lived
neighbors?
close by when we lived there in Auburn.
And
That was a friend I grew up with. Big brother. Big half brother, I think it was. It was Mr. Adams' stepson, so he didn't.
Of course,
and
Billy wasn't it? Was Billy his real son?
Yeah, Bill and Bob and Linda, I think.
Mhm.
He's the one. Billy was the one the last time I saw him was just out of reform school.
Yeah.
and that's the reason it surprised me so. But boy, he was mad. He wouldn't speak to me for days. But he didn't want him to get a job, and there was no jobs around there.
No. There was always
Yeah.
the bean fields, but
You should have
Yeah.
seen that farm
No
I
job.
stayed on.
No, that wasn't a job, huh? Yeah, I know. It made me
why?
quite sick and disgusted after you
It
come
was
home
the
that
girl's
I found
grandparents, and
he
they
didn't
just
write.
kind of farmed. They had
And
about
Oh, really?
30 cows.
it was an
sheep.
experience for him, but I
Big
hated to
pig
have
with
to
a bunch
go
of
through it.
piglets. And
Mhm.
they raised corn, and
But as I said, it was just
Feed
one
for
of
the
those things
cattle.
that I felt like had to be,
Yeah.
should be. And
they had this old guy that stayed there that was they had bought the farm off by like the way I understood.
Mhm.
He just lived with them and worked with them for room and board, I guess. And it's a rough looking farm. They sold cream. They milked the cows and got the cream
Yeah.
out of it and sold the cream, fed the milk to the pig.
Oh yeah.
The sheep. They were rough looking bunch. They had worms and everything.
Oh really?
Sad looking. I didn't realize how sad looking they were till I saw the guy's sheep across the street. They were pure white compared to those.
Healthy ones, huh?
Yeah, healthy.
Yeah.
Her granddad was always off fishing or somewhere. He quit taking me when I went up. There's a lake on the border between South Dakota and the next state. And it was him and a couple other old men took me along. I didn't know anything about fishing. I went along, I caught all the fish.
That's the way it always happens.
He wouldn't take me anymore, I don't know why.
Well, at least you had fish for him.
Got a northern pike, a walleye pike,
No kidding.
a trout or a bass, I'm not sure which, and a bullhead they call it. It was a catfish style.
Yeah, bullhead catfish. Huh.
4 of them, and I don't think any of those other guys caught anything.
beginner's luck.
Yeah, that's the way it always happens. The fish know. They just know.
I had it off to one side, my line off to one side, and I didn't run it out very far. I was scared of hanging it up in theirs.
Yeah.
And
Well-
they were right behind the boat.
You hit a spot where they were
Uh,
resting or something.
Yeah.
Probably, the boat would probably come by and it'd scare them off a little bit, and that's where I'd be. That's
Yeah.
my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably was.
I can remember Roger took us fishing one time up in Star Lake or something.
I don't
For
remember
Washington. Maybe it's just me.
that. I remember
It's the only
we
only
went
time
down to a stream or a large stream or small river or something, and we were fishing and
Oh, you remember
going
the car?
down that thing.
We drove from Seattle to Farming.
61. Yeah.
That Studebaker.
Well, the bullet nose.
Yeah,
Yeah, the one you traded the freezer for.
yeah.
Yeah.
I traded
You had to hit the
and
brakes 3
I-
times.
and left
Yeah. Knock 3 times on the brakes if you want to stop.
it. And I drove from Seattle to Farmington, New Mexico with that car with 3 kids in there with me.
Well, what I think I remember about that car is we drove
Hope
through.
for Lavinia, huh?
We drove through.
Huh?
You said there's hope for Lavinia yet, huh?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
Lavinia's
right there,
getting it
family
good,
tradition.
Where I did sometimes.
Yeah. Family tradition, keeping it up. And then
And
we,
that car may come down here yet.
yeah.
Which we got.
Yeah, I remember. Well, she did. She traded that freezer for the car. And then I remember when we went through eastern Washington with those rolling hills. We went through, Spokane. and it was so hot over there. At least it sure seemed like it because we had the heater stuck on.
Yeah, you couldn't get the heater
The
completely
heater was
off.
underneath the seat, and it was so hot. We stopped somewhere in Eastern Washington and got ice cream, popsicles or something, because it was just so hot that we,
For a car or you?
for us.
Well, after there's a
Well,
river,
they kept the car cooled
know,
down
that,
when you keep the heater on.
What
It kept
river is
plenty
it
of
there
circulation.
that separates Oregon from Washington?
That's, yeah, the Columbia River.
We went across that, and that's where we got the ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
And but I never will forget the minute after we'd gone across and got over there where it's dry. You would just sit there and bounce and sing, and it's the first time I'd ever seen you where you could move.
Well, I can remember that. That's the first time in my life after we left Western Washington, the first time that I didn't have asthma anymore. I could just be myself.
And that's the reason he got so blistered when he went there. That's when he got the blister, when we went to Farmington that time.
Well, that's because
He couldn't, his asthma didn't choke him down, and he'd been getting to the point where he couldn't hardly get outside because of his asthma.
oh, I was probably white. Yeah. No suntan.
Yeah, you didn't ever get in sun on you, and then you go out there and just go out without a shirt, without a t-shirt.
No, we went with a shirt.
Nothing.
I wore a shirt. It blistered me through the shirt.
I doubt it.
No, it did. I remember. We were amazed. It blistered me through the shirt.
I wouldn't be surprised because he'd never been
It
out
was
in the
hot.
sun.
I mean, we'd just spend all day out in the sun, and it burned me through the shirt because it was. I probably had threadbare shirts. I don't know. We weren't
They weren't
worried
bad.
about it.
Like Phoenix in the summer, is it?
So I went down and got a Mediquick, the kind you spray
Yeah.
A
out,
whole lot of different.
and that seemed to clear that water blister up.
Yeah, we
Real good.
finally got rid of it after a
But
few days.
You couldn't touch it with anything, you just had to spray it on.
I didn't know it was all the way across. All I knew it was just burned pretty bad back there.
Well, that thing
Couldn't lay on my
looked
back.
like it was that big and that high.
Yeah, really. Shit.
It,
What was my cousin's name there that I stayed with?
there was Freddie and Leon,
Yeah, Freddie.
and
Leon wasn't there.
Leon wasn't there.
She said they were hoping to make it down for this weekend.
Freddie and Bobby.
And Bobby was the younger one, wasn't he?
Uh-huh.
And Freddie
See,
was
Bobby
the one.
got killed after that.
Yeah. Yeah, we I remember we were sleeping out in some room outside the house, and we'd sit out there and listen to the mosquitoes dive bomb us.
Well, then why is it Jimmy is always hoping that Leon will come when you are here? She seems to think you and Leon know one another.
Oh, not Leon. It was Freddie.
I didn't think you were either. I think
didn't know him.
Freddie and Bobby was at home.
Yeah. And then
I don't even remember.
I saw Nancy a little bit while we were there. But I don't
Yeah.
remember the other boys were there, but I never really, Alan and them, and but I just remember
Sylvia.
Freddie and Bobby and
I vaguely remember her.
Sylvia.
But I don't remember Leon at all.
Leon was the oldest one, wasn't he?
Archie's the oldest.
Oh, Archie's the oldest.
You know
Then
Archie
Leon.
here in Tempe?
Well, see,
Then
and I
Sylvia.
remember that Leon was gone during that time because he's the one that they said.
He was in the service then,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, he was gone.
But and why she keeps insisting that?
I remember
Leon
Archie, but I don't think
would
Archie was
come
around
while
that time.
While Lockett's here.
Yeah. I should have seen Jimmy while I was here.
Yeah, we should have tried. But
Where did Tom go? He's got to have memories.
well, I think we've just about wore 'em out.